I just wanted to see how old I look with the scarf on. I got this scarf as a present, and I wear it a few times. And like, so anyway, I was just thinking about like outside the house next door. I guess. So I know Miss Black died, and I know her son had an attitude that's very common around here. But I don't know if you could see the house. Now they cut the city. They like to cut all nature down. They cut all like the bushes. They cut all the bushes down, and it looks horrible. The bushes made it. She was gonna come sneak up here. Hello. What are you doing? Where your babies? Where your puppies? Did you eat your puppies? Hello. She come by here every day. She escapes her puppies and comes down here. She gonna sneak in the yard as soon as I close the door. But she don't poo-poo in the yard, so knock on wood. So far, she just wants to come and go to the compost. In case I threw some like bread products, so I will put like breadcrumbs in there. Popcorn I threw. Oh, that reminds me of popcorn. But usually there's nothing in there. They just like to sniff. But I was noticing with Trump, I guess he's been fighting everybody instead of cooperating like with the United States government. So, a lot of people are going to leave his administration because they're there really for the money, the paycheck, and we are in a constitutional crisis. It makes me like you see on the if I just like the policeman that lives next door had me tear the house down, and I was really pissed. But the funny thing about him is that he don't want to stay out of my yard. He's a lot like Trump, except for he's black. He's got what I call Jim Crow propaganda type of thing. Like when I first came here, I've had them say things like, my mom whooped me because the white man whooped us when we were slaves, which I thought was asinine because they whooped your family, African Americans, but I guess they didn't whoop Negroes because back then Negroes didn't mean like what black people made it to mean now, like something nasty or whatever. It meant in the dictionary, the definition of a Negro was a person that came from Africa, that it was a Latin word to describe the color black, like negro, negrita, stuff like that. Black male, black female. So it was derived from Latin and Spanish, and I guess also in Nigeria, is where I think the Spaniards got the word. So it sort of evolved to mean the pigment of one's skin, not the behavior or the morals or anything that. And so anyway, so you have like a twist there. And I remember when they used to say that, people used to say that, well, there's a difference between a nigger and a negro. Whites and black used to say that. I always used to say, what's the difference? And I remember I used to say, a lie, you're a lie. Just like, but anyway, this guy, he knows he's coming in my yard. He knows he's doing Roundup, But I remember in, 2001, that the psychiatrist I seen when I was in Mississippi was telling me that these type of people, they're not going to like you, because of this, I just had to meet them during a job thingy, and for some extra money, which I did get, but and they debriefed you, and or just educate you, knowledge you, and because I can control my behavior, I know what I'm doing, right? But what I'm saying, it's just like that parent that keeps whooping their kid and doesn't understand why that kid still has the same behavior. because they hadn't taught them a new behavior. They just taught them pain associated with that behavior, you know. And if the parent after the whoopings gives them cuddles and, oh baby, I love you, this hurts me more than it hurts you. I was doing this for your best thing, you know what I'm saying, to make themselves feel good. And you're not gonna whoop your kid and he's crying and like, okay, now let's do the algebra. Why he's crying after whooping? A, a comma dot, whatever you want to, you're not gonna be able to do. And it's a scientific fact that, when you're in pain, your a lot of your certain areas of your brain will, shut down, to uh, to block some of the pain or whatever, or the blood will rush more to the area where there's pain, etc. But anyway, so you know that's the same mindset that you see Trump and how a lot of Republicans are. It's not. It could cause a lot of pain. Like Trump, he's fighting everybody. The only people he's not fighting, supposedly, allegedly, is people that are blackmailing him because of his activity. And you gotta understand, the police here. I took a class. I know they had a course where they were saying justice and saying, where they were justifying letting white collar crimes really seem less important than suppose traffic stop. So like, even though it's a lot of this unconscious narcissistic type of behavior is encouraged, through the social and surroundings and the peer pressure, to be, like, where it's okay to shoot somebody, and cry when you get in trouble. If I'd have known that, like, with the neighbor next door, if I would have cried or something, that, then he probably would stop. But he's not going to fucking stop because it's his actions. Even though he has all these excuses to justify, just like Trump has all these excuses why he has to keep the government closed. It's because, like, first of all, he doesn't know how to bargain. That's straight up. And second of all, he's copying like Putin or Kim, or somebody other type of they are leader in another country that's, you know just really greedy. Putin is very greedy. They like the dollars. They like American dollars. You know, and if Trump thinks that being a big shot or being a big man is having sex with a bunch of prostitutes, that makes him more of a man than, let's say, a man that never had sex with a prostitute. Both men are having sex. So say both men are having children. Both men have been married. But he thinks that, and not only that, high dollar prostitutes. I remember seeing some of those Russian prostitutes, like they were just like trafficking them over, like Indian slaves. And mostly that's basically what you call. That reminds me of a story. I remember like going back to the police. The police department, they had the mindset that these childhood prostitutes, and you gotta understand, like a lot of the propaganda, like if you look at Little Rascals and Disney things, you see the child without the parent, and that's to make you think that the child is more older and can go out and get a job and get an apartment or something, but like unconsciously you think this child is older. But that's neither here nor there. But there was a bunch of propaganda, just like the propaganda that they used with TV, where like the test to see if people will be upset about losing their First Amendments, and you're not allowed to see pregnant women, and you're not allowed to say 5 or 7 words that are on TV, like bitch, fuck, and shit like that. And so slowly, they're eating away at our Constitution. But anyway, getting back Believe me. So, they remind like these 9-year-old prostitutes, male and female, but mostly females, that are out there because that's what they want to do. Even if they catch them and put them in juvenile, they would use them to lure other pedophiles, but they would do it in such a way that sometimes the child would actually end up doing the act. It was funny to them, and so somewhere, like there was like a group of messed up cops, and again it's the love of money. It's the love of money. This is why they're doing this stuff, because they're getting money. They get more money, and so the hell with the serve and protect the people. So like in there, the mindset is like, oh, their parents this, and like their parents were inferior, or what I'm saying. And then at this time you had 3 TV channels, right? And like sometimes on the TV it would show like the mom saying, "Wait till your dad gets home, he's gonna whoop you," and other times they would like, "Oh well, he's a great father. He comes to all your baseball games." So like these policemen, like they're coming home, they're doing the propaganda, whooping their kids, like running to their baseball games, but they're not actually giving them kid any education or knowledge or survival skills, opposed to maybe like somebody that comes home and the first thing he's not affronted with the bad behavior of the child, and I have to whoop him, where maybe he gets to wind down, have some refreshments, wash up a little bit, and maybe go outside and him and the kid, do yard work together. Now where the father's like, go get this and push, but like where they both actually are doing it so the job gets done, and, quicker. That's not happening. There's no, or where you're sitting down with them and letting the kid read like his English comprehension assignment or whatever, or you just sit there and the father sits there and like lets the kid do the math homework, and when he's needed and gives them explanation, explains it, or just shows them how to do it. There's none of that, or not enough that it overrides the whooping and overrides the chastising, and usually it's a form of bullying and torturing. So anyway, a few of these guys, their kids grow up. One of their daughters ends up wants to be ends a Playboy bunny, in like in college. She's gonna make money. She's but she'll because like some girls, like they'll see like prostitutes, like they'll see the prostitute, the Russian whore with the mink coat on them, Fifth Avenue, nice shoes or whatever, and you're like it might look glamorous. So they'll see the Playboy bunny, she's cute, what kid don't like bunnies? So anyway, she was Playboy, one became Playboy bunny, and then I guess she went into adult, adult sex movies, into porn, and then the other one, like the son also, and they all was like pill pushers back then. I guess it was Pastilles, Percodons, Quaaludes, basically the same type of opiates and uppers, like they had like uppers too, like White Crosses, and so you had downers and uppers, and so like I think all of them ended up addicted to pills and drugs of some type and alcohol, but they all end up like this one particular group of these men, and there was like probably about 45 to 50, these one particular men that was robbing drug dealers, putting childhood prostitutes back out there so they could make money from them, and anyway their kids, and they were saying it was all because they didn't have good parents. The parents didn't care about them. But the same thing happened with these kids. Is because first of all, like the father's gone all the time because he's working, trying to make overtime too, and plus when he does come home, he's disrespecting the mother, like he's gonna tell, like, she's like home all the time. Maybe she's cooking and cleaning. He's got to criticize, 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 which comes off to the kid unconsciously disrespecting. And anyway, the way, like, the one that ended up with the Bonnie and ended up um being in porn, she ended up dead. I always thought it was her father who killed her. But anyway, so right now, and this is how I see Trump, is that it's sort of like, and I'm talking about, these are real racist people, and I've seen the same thing like in Kansas with the police and this policeman over there, and a lot of it's like, like they feel inferior and self hate, and but anyway, it's like he now closing the government, and he said in the Oval Office that he was going to take the blame for it, but now he's putting the blame. He wants to put the blame on somebody else because they never could think of a solution. Those policemen, they was like, ha ha, let's just rob, because they want money, and like to them, like they can't think of a solution or another way that they could make money, like legally. And if they do, somebody's gonna get hurt, if like they say like, oh, well, I want to be like Tupac, like sort of like Rick Ross did. Except for I don't think he ever been in the movies, and he's not handsome. He's only not handsome because the way he portrays himself, you know. There's some people, like, they'll know how to make their face pleasant. Not me. Anyway, my point is that psychiatrist had it dead right about how messed up people that get whooped, or he didn't say people that get whooped. He said these people in Memphis are. He was dead right, and I see the same thing in Trump, and I see it in a lot of Republicans, that they're letting their hate flower into ignorance, and they don't want it. I don't see any solutions. Like, he could easily have solutions other than than like, you only gonna do it my way. You know what I'm saying? And so you could tell this is how he's done business, and this is why all his businesses have failed, and this is why he's such a good patsy for Russia, especially Putin, because he is easy to blackmail. His lawyer Collins was blackmailing him if he had all those tapes and stuff like that. So Trump, and when the CIA came and tried to help Trump, to let him know that you've been compromised, instead of accepting their help and no longer have to deal with being blackmailed by Putin, and still, because he's pissed off because he want to make as much money as Barack Obama. He's like, Barack Obama went in there poor, now he got money. He could have learned, but instead he chose to deny and to get angry at the truth and just turn into like a liar. And I see that even, like I see that with the police department, and it's a lot. Like I said, I went to WSU. I took that one class. And they are training them that there is a difference between white collar crime, and usually white collar crime, it's the ones that are laundering money, that are trafficking human beings over here, sort of like, because if you really look into it, you'd have to look more into the Catholic Church, and and their pedophilia, and also the trafficking of humans, and their ability through them buying land and stuff like that to well, they're also in a blackmail and espionage, blackmail and embezzlement. Anyway, you would look more into some activities that that are, and the same thing if you look into Trump, you look deeper into Trump, then you'll find out that he is doing illegal activities. Some of them has been so plain it's on your face. It's like with the university, Trump University, Trump wine, Trump steak. Yeah, you could tell that they're cons. They're hateful people. And if they would just face the truth, sit down, have a conversation, and find out what other people wants and needs are. Let them know what you truly want and what you accept, and just come to agreement, he'd be a lot better person leaving the office than what he was coming in, because he does not know how to negotiate. He does not know how to bargain. He does not know how to be a businessman. And in the White House is not a business, it's a government. And he's too busy thinking he's not a politician when he is. But he's not, because of his ignorance and his hate, uh, and his inability to accept that to be human is to be air, as they say, as the saying goes. And the only way, and that's what makes you smarter, making mistakes and correcting them, finding solutions. He's incapable of doing that. Instead, he wants to fight the ones that could help him, and he's turns to the enemy because he's greedy. He's all seven sins. He's disgusting. That didn't work very well. It still says.